University of Dice Dave here. Thanks for joining me once again. I don't know about you, but it's been a busy week here. Kids started school, got a whole bunch of other stuff in the works right now, so consequentially, not a ton of Pokemon going on. Nothing since last Saturday in the Cup that I already talked about in Monday's video. So I thought I'd take this as an opportunity to sort of take a step back and look at why I do certain things. In particular, I want to talk about why I discuss my mistakes in such an open way. So I think that's a very fair question. There's a little bit of embarrassment that comes alongside that, right? I'm saying, hey, here's where I goofed everybody. Here are my misplays. Enjoy my skill issues. But there's more to it than that. And I think there's at least three good reasons why you should make an effort to do the exact same thing. First, talking about it in this format forces me to think. What was the play? What led to it? What was the result? And how do I fix it the next time? But more to it than that, from there, once I kind of parse all that and figure it all out, I got to start taking some notes and make it into something that I can like effectively communicate out there to the interwebs. This is really important to do because oftentimes it's not just a play issue. Sometimes what you're uncovering is a little bit of a gap in your prep work or even something that you just didn't know to watch for, a knowledge gap that you had. And that's important to isolate and figure out. So anyway, once I figure all that, I have to jot down my notes and put it in a way where, as I said, it makes sense to talk about it here. And that's really important too. First off, it keeps me honest and ensures that I'm going to talk about it with a level of clarity. The second important aspect to this is something called the Feynman technique, which, even if you don't know it in that term, I guarantee you've heard something about this. A key principle of the Feynman technique is that to prove that you understand something, you should be able to explain it in very simple, basic layman terms. So if I'm going to take the time to break down my mistake and figure out what to do differently and all that sort of stuff and talk about it in this format, I got to be able to do it in that very same way, which means that I am really internalizing my understanding of the whole situation. And I recommend everybody find the opportunity to do that because it can only help you. Now, maybe you don't want to start a YouTube channel. That's fine. So find a friend, playtest partner, something like that. Sit down with them and talk about the whole thing. I think that's a good solution too. But that brings me to the second point with this. You have to be able to be honest about this stuff, especially when you're talking to another person. Like, we all want to save face. We don't want to feel that embarrassment. We want to give that reason or excuse, depending on what you want to call it. Like on that last video, I could have easily said about the whole energy attachment mistake, well, I mean, I was playing for 9.5 hours. I was really tired at that point. It was a very long day, and this was at the very end of it. That would have been like technically true, but that doesn't really help me at all. Because one, stamina is a factor in the game, but that can't be my reason. I need to be able to play well at the end of a tournament or the beginning of a tournament. If I'm going to go to regionals and have any expectation of doing well, I got to go in understanding that I'm going to hopefully play a lot of Pokemon over those hopefully 2 days. um, that's going to be a lot of stuff, and I'm going to have the stamina for it. Two, I got to be able to make good decisions whether I'm tired or not. So I don't see that as a valid way to talk about it. In other words, the reasons why are generally less important than what happened and what you're going to do about it. Now, third point. If you keep this kind of stuff inside, it can be really easy to beat yourself up over it. It feels bad, right? If a lot of these misplays are going to lead to a loss or some other issue, that just feels bad. Nobody likes losing, man. It never feels good. But if you're willing to talk about it, it makes it a lot easier to let that kind of stuff go. And it even sort of trains you for those times when you can't talk about it. Like, if I finish game one of a 3-game set and I made a mistake that kind of doomed me, I can't get up and be like, hey, hang on, I got to go make a video. I'll be right back. That's not going to happen at any given tournament. That's just not how it works. So I need to train myself to think this same process and let it go so that I can adjust for game two and hopefully game three and do better. For example, the same tournament that I went to last Saturday, I had round one of top 8, was me against Grimsnarl. And the first game, I got to a certain point. I only have 2 prizes to go, pretty good. I get Maractus locked. And because of how the game had played out to that point, I did not have an out to it. So it was just moving a whole bunch of damage over to me, setting up a TM Devo play, and that was going to be it. I didn't really factor Maractus into my thinking about how I was going to handle this matchup, but there it was. So I had to make that quick note and adjust how I was going to play game 2 and game 3. Ultimately, I was able to win that set, this time playing a little more conservatively, especially with my prime catcher, so that I had an out just in case that Maractus came up again. I had to do it that way. Now, unfortunately for my opponent, game 3, they kind of bricked, so that one became a little more of a foregone conclusion. Sad for them. I hate it when that happens, and sometimes that's just Pokemon. But the bottom line is, talk about your mistakes. It's going to help you learn. It's going to help you be a better player. And it's going to help you shrug off those situations where it's, boy, really easy to fall into the whole negative self-talk shtick. You don't want that. It's not going to help you win tournaments. Talk about your experience with this same thing down below. How do you buck the negative self-talk for yourself? It's a tough one to combat, let me tell you, as someone who falls victim to it a lot. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye.